Father George Salzman here at the Harvard Catholic Center, welcoming you here, of course, and to all the experiences we have at Harvard. For instance, I regularly celebrate Mass at the med school dorm. That's across from the great marble quad of Harvard Med School, Vanderbilt Hall, across the street. And there in the common room, I'll celebrate Mass, and I'll have my back to the street windows, and they'll be coming in a door overhead and coming down the steps and stuff. And it's a great marble framed door. And over top, through the years, as I've looked at it, it says George Herbert Best. And I wondered to myself, could that be the Best of Banting and Best, two of the most famous names in the history of medicine and, for that matter, science, who discovered insulin just 100 years ago. Next year will be 100 years ago, 1922 in Canada, and did a most marvelous work. Tens of millions of people have diabetes in our country and would be dead but for their discovery of insulin. And the reason for that name over the door is interesting, that Banting and Best did the work, and then there was Mackay who had the lab, and he got the Nobel Prize, and Banting did, but Best did not. And there was hue and cry against that. And so this building going up at the same time, it seems to me that probably explains why George Herbert Best's name as a compensation is there on the top. And then there was also a biochemist. So here are Banting and Best. And here's Collop. He was James Collop. He was a biochemist. Biochemists are people too. And so he was sort of left out. And so he finally got noticed when Mackay split some of his Nobel Prize money with him. And I believe that Banting shared some of his Nobel Prize money with Best. But remarkable people, and what a remarkable thing, that discovery. Now, to switch from there to here, I came over here to St. Paul's for morning Mass to Sunday, and I heard about another kind of public reaction, and that's this, that they gave away their patent rights for $1, a Canadian dollar, to make it clear that it was given to humanity. So there wouldn't be any profiteering, that it could be used for the good of everyone. So people would have access to insulin. There would be the cost of producing it, the better cost of bettering it, but otherwise, and the basic profit to keep the companies doing it in business. But other than that, it would be available to everyone, and costs would not be an issue. But I was talking to the fellow Jacob, who's a graduate of here, who was visiting a Mass. He's down at Duke Medical School, and he was telling me at least twice a week he sees people titrating their insulin. That's to say, the prices have been jacked up so high by the three pharmaceutical companies that have control of insulin at the moment that it's beyond belief, and therefore people can't afford it. People really are dying, and he sees twice a week he sees that in the ER, that they titrated insulin and they come in a coma. It's that bad. Now, they've had hearings in Congress. You've probably seen some of that on television and the news, where some of the representatives are almost shouting at the drug reps, the drug company CEOs, saying, asking, how do you people sleep at night? How do you people sleep at night doing this? And it really seems incredible. No one wonders how we as a society, as basic humanity, can feel this for the tens of millions of our fellow Americans who have diabetes and everyone else, because it's unconscionable. Jacob said they've jacked up the prices, not 8 times, but 8-fold. So 8-fold, 800%. The prices have gone up, so obviously it's unaffordable for most people to really get what they need. So the gospel that day was Mark 10, verses 35 to 45, where James and John are asking for the first seats of the kingdom to be seated at Christ's left and right hand. And of course the other 10 are wild about this and their selfishness, and Christ explains it isn't his to give, and then makes the further point of what the kingdom is like, that he came to serve, not to be served, to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. If you think of people who've had an influence in your life, think of your teachers, think of your parents. They're people who've given of themselves. Think of doctors and nurses and essential workers at the moment who are providing for us in the middle of a horrible plague that seems relentless and appearing in new forms. Think of the self-sacrifice and the courage for our sake there. And then think of the further point, that it is in the very process of not being focused on ourselves where we would lose our lives and become a scandal, but focused on others, that we really figure out what our lives are for. We figure out what we're to do, we figure out who we're to go through life with, and that's the very essence of living. Otherwise, we could let ourselves pass our own lives by. Obviously, these folks didn't, and we pray that we don't either. May God bless you.